Hey everyone, welcome back to the Just Your Average Fangirl podcast. My name is Jordan.
And we have a lovely little episode for you guys this week. Our main topic will be about Dirty Dancing, which is our random recommendation from last week, which was my choice. And we're also going to talk about, Jordan's going to talk a little bit about Promised Neverland, I think it's called, which is a little series she just watched. And we're also going to talk about Blade Runner, because I just saw that over the week too. So yeah, let's get to it. What do you want to talk about first?
We could get into Blade Runner. Do we want to do non-spoiler or spoilers or?
I mean, you kind of know everything throughout the movie, but there's also that last scene that I want to talk about a little bit too.
Okay, we can give a brief spoiler warning. I put chapters or timestamps in the description, so if you don't want to be spoiled, just skip ahead. So yeah, this is our spoiler warning for the 1982 film Blade Runner, directed by Ridley Scott and starring, above others, Harrison Ford, Sean Young, Edward James Olmos, who's actually one of the leads in Battlestar Galactica, and Rutger Hauer, I believe it's pronounced. So yeah, I've seen this before, and Natalie just saw it. It's probably fresher in her mind than is. So do you want to give your brief thoughts? Just as a brief, I guess, synopsis, if we want to give one. Blade Runner it's a dystopic film about this man, Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, who is tasked with hunting down replicants who are like humans in every single way, except they can't mimic human emotion. So that's the basic plot of the film. So Natalie, if you want to get into your thoughts.
Yeah, okay, so I absolutely loved this movie. First of all, my biggest takeaway from this was, oh my God, the special effects and just like the atmosphere and everything they created for it was so good. It was so like modern in a way, and I couldn't comprehend that because the closest reference point I have to this time in my head is like Star Wars. And so, and of course, you know, the graphics for some of the Star Wars movies are just very bad in the best way possible. But for this, it was so good. And I was watching it with my mom and I just kept saying the whole time, oh my God, it's just so good. And just, I still can't believe they did so well for that time. And it's weird because in my head too, comparing it to like Harry Potter or something, Harry Potter graphics, I just think of that one scene when someone's on a broom, they're getting like twisted around. Like that, oh my God, I'm saying like so much. I'm trying not to say it as much anymore. But when they're getting twisted around, the graphics are so bad. But for this, everything was really good and just really well put together, which I really admired. And I really liked the world of this movie. Another thing, like dystopian movies, usually not my favorite, but in atmospheres like this and worlds like this, I really admire it. And I think it's really fun and just all of that. And now I really want to talk about this last scene, which was my favorite in the whole movie. It was so good. Oh my gosh. What's the character's name? Bryant or yes?
Bryant, I
Yeah.
think so.
So he's, oh my God, wait a second. I'm thinking of things. So he's the one of the Republicans or not Republican.
Roy. I think it's Roy actually.
Okay. What is it? Republicans. There we go. Replicants. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's Roy.
Yeah. So in the very end of the movie, well, a big plot point is this: these replicants are dying because they're the most advanced, so they have a very short lifespan. And at the end, Roy and his friends are like trying so hard to survive and like find ways to not die. And that is a big plot point for them in the movie. But at the end, we see Roy dying and he has this speech and it is so good. Like, oh my gosh. I don't even know how to describe. It was just great acting and the pauses and it were really beautiful and everything about it was just so wonderful. And it was weird because you said that they can't copy these human emotions, but they are so human. Like when I think about it, he was in love with that girl and all of that. And they showed human emotions and stuff. And it just, I loved it. This is one of my favorite movies, honestly, right now. I
Oh,
think it's really good. Do you want to talk a little bit about it too?
yeah, I would definitely put it up as one of my favorites. And yeah, the speech at the end is so beautiful, coupled with the rain and the music. And it's come to, I think, be known as the Tears in the Rain speech, which is sort of the theme. And then he's holding the dove. It's such a beautiful scene. And yeah, it's just such a gorgeous movie. It feels, I think as someone described it, it feels so lived in.
Mhm.
It's crowded, it's rainy, it's very grudgy. People are, running. It's sort of, it's so modern. There's like, not like, but there's advertisements everywhere. You see one time Deckard is flying and you see this giant advertisement with this woman. And it just feels so grimy and lived in. I think that's what's so cool about this world. And you mentioned how well it holds up, and I completely agree. I think the closest reference I have is probably Aliens, which came out I think 2 years after. I think it's another film whose special effects hold up well. But yeah, this film holds up extremely well. And the theme of the movie is sort of what you were talking about with what does it mean to be human? Because I think one a character that it's just so I love is Rachel, who we see Decker talking to, and she's trying to explain this is my mother, and he's saying no, it was all a lie, and then you see her crying, and you're thinking along with Deckard, oh, she's having emotion in a way, because the whole beginning of the movie, you're made when he's giving the test and you see and oh they don't have human emotions, they can't replicate emotions, but then you see Rachel crying and you say to yourself, and it's just kind of a turning point, at least for the main character. And it's just such a gorgeous movie. The music is so beautiful. I can't even explain it, but it's like not like synthy, but also bluesy. Yeah, it's such an interesting because when I finished it, I didn't quite know how to feel initially. For some movies, I just come out right away saying, "Oh, that was awesome." But for this one, I kind of had to let it sink in. I was thinking, did I like it? Was it? But yeah, it's such an amazing movie. I think the one thing though, and Natalie, you know what I'm talking that I don't think works is the romance between Deckard and Rachel, particularly in that one scene. I get what they were going for, but it just reads as very, lack of a better words, assaulty. It does it just like I know what they were going for, but it just doesn't. I can buy that those two would have a connection, but a romantic connection, not really. At least that was my impression. But
Yeah.
that's pretty much the one thing about the film I don't think works.
Yeah. It's weird because I I feel like this is just very stupid, but I didn't realize that the replicants just couldn't copy human emotion. I thought it was just they don't have these certain memories and stuff. But so I thought the whole time like all of these characters have human emotions because going back to Roy's character, he clearly loved what's her name? Um
The one replicant, I forget her name too, but she had a really cool design. I loved the black paint and
yeah, everything was so beautiful in this movie. Oh my gosh. All the cast members were beautiful. Everything about it was perfect. The
oh,
costume
Chris.
design, yeah, the costume design too. I thought it was really interesting because it felt very 80s, but it also felt very futuristic and it was really cool. But going back to the music, what kind of caught my eye about this was the music because my mom would play songs from this movie in the car ride home from school a few years ago and I stumbled upon one of them again recently. What's it called? Hold on. I need to look this up real quick. It's Kiss Me, One More Kiss, Dear, that song. Um, and I stumbled upon that and I was like, man, I need to watch Blade Runner because I've been trying to watch it, or not trying to watch it, I've been meaning to watch it for a really long time. And I finally got to watch it and I really admired the music because it really helped capture the soul of this movie. But Yeah. Oh my gosh. I really, really like this. And going back to what you were saying about the relationship, that scene was a little pushing it for me. I was kind of like, oh my god, I don't know what they're trying to do here. Like I get what they're trying to do, but it just did not. It felt kind of rapey in a way. It just
Yeah.
kind of crossing the line a little bit. But yeah, I thought everyone did a really good job. I was talking to my mom, and she usually thinks Harrison Ford is an over actor. I see that, but I don't really see it. And her opinion was this is her favorite movie with him acting in it. And I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I think he's a homie. I love him. There's a new Indiana Jones coming out soon, which I'm super excited for. But overall, yeah, I really, really like this movie. Have you seen the second one?
I haven't, but I hear it's also really good, which is interesting because usually sequels that come out with a classic aren't, but I hear the sequel to something really interesting. I know Ryan Gosling's the lead in it. And
Oh, Dave Bautista in it too.
yeah. Jared Leto, I think, is in it. Yeah, I hear the sequel's also really good. Did you watch the final cut? The,
I
the
think
final,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Um, all right, nobody spoil this in the comments because I know the sequel confirms or denies this. But before the sequel came out, there's a theory that Deckard was a replicant.
That's what I was thinking. Because he shows very little emotions, going back to what you were saying about the replicants don't show emotions. But when you were saying that too, in my head I was like, wait a second, maybe he was a replicant because they like showed the same emotional. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the sequel confirms or denies this. So
They also, oh my god, they also mentioned at one point, oh, have you ever taken the test? And he's like, no, I have not. So yeah, yeah.
there's also this really cool eye trick they do with the replicants. I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, with their eye, and I think because the reason people have this series for a split second, you see Deckard's eyes kind of go like that as well. And this world just has incredible world building. For example, with the animals too. It's not a huge thing, but it's just a little detail that I really like where there aren't even real animals. Even the animals are replicants, except for I think this is a detail in the book because it's based on a book, but where only the rich are able to afford actual animals, which is such an interesting detail that I really like. But yeah, for me, I think Harrison Ford, I can see how Harrison Ford, your mom would feel that way. But I personally, I don't know, maybe I have a bias because I loved the Indiana Jones movie growing up, and he was one of my first crushes. So maybe I have a bit of a bias, but I think the standouts are definitely Sean Young in the acting department as Rachel, and what's his name? Rutger Hauer as the main replicant, Roy. I think those two were definitely standouts for me.
Also, I want to mention in JF Sebastian's apartment, all of those toys and animatronics. I mean, not animatronics, but so cool. The design of this movie, like, it makes me mad of how good it is. This is my aesthetic in a way, in my heart. I don't present this, but I really admire stuff like this. And it was so good. Did this win any awards?
Did it? I don't know. I don't know. I hope. I think it was. I don't know. Excuse me.
Oh
Let me
yeah.
just look it up quick. Sorry.
Yes, it got a BAFTA for best costume design, a BAFTA for best production design, um, a BAFTA for best cinematography. I don't know if they won it or they might have. Hold on, let's see. Oh, they deserved all of this. I don't think there's any Oscar stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
nominated for Oscars, yeah. Winner. They mostly won BAFTAs. They were nominated for so many things. Wow. Good. Good.
Yeah, it's interesting because it was also, I think, I don't want to say it was it was one of those movies that had an interesting production history from what I can tell. I saw this interview with Ridley. I listened to this interview with Ridley Scott a while ago, the director, who explained a little bit about it, how it was a bit chaotic, and which I feel like makes sense. I can imagine making a high concept sci-fi film at the time, such as this, could have been maybe people might have mixed feelings about it because it's also not like a Star Wars, which is very, Star Wars has its dark moments, but at the end of the day, it's it's very, it has a happy ending. It has very lighthearted characters, and this is definitely not that in terms of tone.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think Blade Runner, besides that one aspect, is is a masterpiece.
Definitely. All right. Do you want to talk about Promised Neverland or Promising Neverland?
The Promised Neverland. Yeah, so I won't give any spoilers for that. It's season 1 is on Netflix. It's interesting though, because I kind of went into it knowing or hearing that season 2 was not good. So I only watched season 1, and as of now, maybe I'll read the manga in the future, but I only plan on watching season 1. But holy crap, it breaks my heart that season 2 is not supposed to be good. Season 1 was phenomenal. It's an anime if anyone's interested in that kind of stuff, but it's so unique. The world of Promised Neverland is so unique. So the basic plot is you have these kids at an orphanage, and they've never been outside of the orphanage. And so when one of their fellow orphans gets adopted, two of the smartest children at the orphanage, Emma and Norman, discover something more sinister is going on behind the scenes. So it's up to them, along with another one of the orphans, Ray, to try to plot and escape the orphanage, which is the central plot of the season. It's not a long show. It's about 12 episodes, each is 22. Yeah, it hooked me right away. And it's just, not only is it the animation gorgeous, I just fell in love with the characters. Emma, Norman, and Ray all have my heart. I love them so much. And oh my God, Isabella too is such a fantastic antagonist. And it's such a gorgeous, it's just so sad and at the same time tense. When you think the kids are about to do it, there's I don't know what it's called, a curveball thrown at them, and they have to rethink everything. And it's just so tense. And, you want to see these kids make it out. You want to see them outsmart the orphanage. And it's such a gorgeous, wonderful show. And it breaks my heart that season 2 that I can't watch because I don't want the show to be ruined for me. It's kind of what you were saying about Lost a couple episodes back. I don't want to watch season 2. I don't want to not like the show because season 1 is fantastic. Yeah, if you're an anime fan, or even if you're not, I feel like you could get into it because it's not what you classically think of anime. I'm trying to think, like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, super action oriented. No shade to those shows. I'm just saying it's very tonally more it's very tonally different, if that makes sense.
Yeah. On the idea of not watching the second season, have you heard any reviews on it being good, or is everything you heard just very bad and hated?
Yeah, I don't know about random critics, but on this site called Anime List, which a lot of people go to rate anime, season 1 is currently at an 8.6. It's out of 10. And season 2 is at a 5.9. So it's a huge.
Not bad. Honestly, if it was like a 2, then I'd understand. Okay, you might not agree with this, but I think you should watch it because in my own experience of watching shows and having the second season be worst or last season be worst, you can always block it from your memory. But it's still getting the content you enjoy, and you can always change it in your head a little bit. And what happens if you do like it? So because I'm gonna watch the last season of Lost, even though every single person I've heard told me not to watch it, I'm going to watch it because I want to see what happens. It was created for a reason, you know? So it's, yeah, I've decided on the moral debate whether or not I should watch the end, and I finally decided that I will watch the end. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch the end for you, and then I'll tell you for the second season.
I'll think about it.
Here's what I might do. I'm gonna watch only the second season, and then we'll talk.
Wait, what?
Of the Promised Neverland. I will try watching just the second season, and then I'll tell you what I think. No context of the first season, only straight into the second.
That's so weird. I'm not gonna lie.
I know.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'll think about it. At least as of now, I'm fine taking a break because as I mentioned also, the second season isn't on Netflix. So I don't even think I could watch it if I wanted to. But yeah, like every review I've come across of season 2 has been just it's terrible.
Really?
Yeah, if you just even if like you go, I know YouTube isn't the main say, but if you just search Promised Neverland season 2 review, every single review is just negative.
Does the first season end on a cliffhanger, or?
You know, it's actually funny because I was gonna say if it ended on a cliffhanger, I would be angry. But I think season 1 does genuinely end in a place where I think you could watch it and just leave the rest to your imagination, which is why I'm not super mad about not being able to watch season 2, just because I think season 1 does end off on a place where it is a little open-ended, but it definitely, you know, you can just leave the rest up to you, if that makes sense.
Okay. Do you know if the show knew that they were going to have a second season, or was it a situation where they wanted to end it, but because it got so popular, they decided to make a second season?
Well, because I don't know. It's really weird because so it's based on a graphic novel of the same name, and the graphic novel does continue after that. So I think by that they knew they were going to, but they said because apparently the graphic novel also gets kind of bad, so they were going to say, oh, it's an anime, or this is what I heard. I don't know if this is true. An anime original, sort of. They're not going to follow the graphic novel beat for beat. But apparently, from what I could tell, they skipped like 4 major arcs. Apparently, the last episode ends in a slide. They explain where it ends in a slideshow or something like that. Something really weird. Yeah. Apparently, yeah, it's just the characters it's just about them. It's not even, they're not that as smart as they were in the first season. But apparently they just like it really just comes across they were just trying to rush to the finish line and didn't really care about telling it. It sounds very Game of Thrones season 80, where they just wanted to rush to the finish line, didn't really care about compelling pace. So that's why I'm like really thrown off. It's not even like, oh, it's not that, oh, some people are like, oh, it's not as good as season 1, there was this and this. It just seems, yeah, just genuinely not. Which is why, like, if there were some reviews where they were saying, oh, it was okay, or, or even if there were some review, but it seems overwhelmingly.
Yeah, I understand that.
No one liked it.
I hate when shows rush to the end. I mean, I understand when it's a situation where they don't have enough budget, or it's something where, I don't know. But when they have the money and they have all the actors and it's really popular, why waste that storytelling on a rushed ending? It's so annoying. I hate it. Going back to the idea of Game of Thrones and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they rushed it. I didn't watch all of Game of Thrones. I watched a few seasons of it, and then I kind of got bored of it. But I hate when they rush things. It makes me really mad, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm just really pushing it off for now.
What do you rate the show out of a like 1 to 10 scale?
I know I only want, it's like, it's honestly a 9 or maybe even a 10 out of 10.
Oh wow.
Loved it. I thought it was so good.
That's crazy. I might have to watch it. There's so many things I have to watch.
No, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think it was near perfect and
Wow. Okay, then don't watch the second season if it was.
that's why I'm so like so mad. But yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. It was probably, I'm trying to think of what I've seen in regards to anime shows. Yeah, it might be one of my favorite. It might be one, I haven't seen a ton, but it's definitely one of my favorite anime shows that I've seen. I haven't seen a ton, but yeah, and I recently started this other show. It's I believe the first, because so Funimation is a show that usually brings a bunch of anime to Western audiences.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching their first one that they distributed, their first Chinese anime called Heaven Official's Blessing. So I started that. It's another short anime just because I want to watch something else before I start Battlestar Galactica season 3. It's all right so far. It hasn't quite hooked me the same way Promised Neverland has, but it has an interesting premise. So I think I'm gonna keep watching that and see what happens.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It looks like I gotta add the Promised Neverland to my watch list. But yeah, I need to finish Hannibal. I have what, a week or so? No, a week's good, but I have so much work to do to finish it before it gets taken off Netflix. I'm sure it's gonna be put somewhere else, but I really, really want to finish it. I have a series and a half left.
How many episodes are in this series?
Let's see. The second season I feel is longer than the first season by a lot, because I was watching it a couple days ago and I was like, shouldn't this be over by now? Like, interesting. But I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. I usually don't do that. I was never a really big podcast person. Oh, they're all the same episodes. They're all 13 episodes each with just 45 minutes. So let's see how many hours. 13 times. I don't know. It can't do that. 13 times 45 divided by 24. So like a full day of watching Hannibal, 24 hours.
Just do that. Just do that Memorial Day. It's fine.
But I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately with Josh Horowitz. I don't know if you know him, but my favorite person ever. He used to work for MTV. There's a lot of Tom Hiddleston skits and interviews with him, and I think they're so much fun. But one of the ones that I was listening to was with Mads Mikkelsen, and apparently this series Hannibal got canceled. The third season, it got canceled, so they never ended up making more of it. So I don't know if it ends on a cliffhanger or anything, but it's crazy that I don't really know how it's going to end, because I've heard so much about the show in a way, and I've seen so many TikToks about it. Before I even watched it, my TikTok For You page was like 30% Hannibal for some reason. That's what finally got me to watch it, but I'm glad I don't really know what's going to happen. And I've dodged a lot of spoilers, which is good.
That's good. Yeah, so hopefully you're able to finish it. So next week we can talk about it. What are the names of the podcasts you've been listening to?
Honestly, it was just Josh Horowitz. His podcast is called Happy, Sad, Confused. There's a lot of good ones. He also has a YouTube on comedy, like a YouTube series on Comedy Central called Stir Crazy. Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie were on it not that long ago for advertising for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But he's really funny, and he asks a lot of really good questions, and I really enjoy how he makes his guests feel so comfortable. And they're always so happy when they're on. And I listened to one with Jeff Goldblum the other day. I do not believe that he's a real person. I just cannot comprehend it at all. The way he speaks, it's just like, there's no way. Oh, I love it. It's so good. I forget who else I've listened to, but I've just listened. I really enjoy it. it's cool hearing, Taika Waititi, I listened to one with him. I
love
adore
him.
him so much. Oh my gosh, I want to be him. He has so much power to him. And he doesn't care about anything. And he like hates everything at the same time. Like it was crazy. In the interview, Josh was like, yo, don't say that. He's like, you're crossing the line. And Taika was like, you can just cut that out. And he's like, no, I'm not. Just like stuff like that is so much fun. But yeah.
I love Taika Waititi. He made my second favorite film of 2019, Jojo Rabbit.
So good. I love him. I can't wait for the new Thor movie to come out. Thor: Love and Thunder. Oh my god. What's his name? I think Christian Bale is in it.
Really?
Yeah, hold on. Let me. Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah, he's in it.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
I'm so excited.
That's cool.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Dirty Dancing now?
Yes, I was gonna say, shall we move on? So
do you want me to do a quick little synopsis real quick?
Sure, and I can pull up some stats.
So Dirty Dancing is about this girl named Baby who goes on a family vacation with her family. Just know that their family's kind of rich and very high status, I guess. And while she's there, she goes to this secret kind of dance club at the resort, and she meets this guy, Johnny, who's a really good dancer and he's very suave and all of that. And he has this dance partner who has to get an abortion, so she can't dance. And so Baby decides to fill in for her. And Johnny teaches Baby how to dance, and they work together a lot, and they end up falling in love with each other. And of course, spoilers.
Spoilers review.
Yeah. Spoiler review. And then at the end of the movie, Johnny gets fired because they find out that he's in a relationship with Baby, and he goes away. But at the very end, there's a happy moment where they come back and they do the last dance of this talent show. And it's really cool and a good movie. And the music in it is so good. Okay. You can do the stats now.
Okay, yeah. So just a little background information. Dirty Dancing came out in 1987. It was directed by Emile, I believe it's pronounced Emile Ardolino, who also directed Sister Act, among other things. It was written by Eleanor Bergstein, and it stars Jennifer Grey as Baby, Patrick Swayze as Johnny Castle, I believe is his full name, Jerry Orbach, and Cynthia as Baby's dad, and Cynthia Rhodes. It was a little fun fact. It was actually, there's a reason I'm saying this, choreographed by Kenny Ortega, who, if you're a big DCOM fan, he directed the High School Musical trilogy, the Descendants trilogy. He also directed and choreographed the Newsies movie with a young Christian Bale and Hocus Pocus. So he's kind of a DCOM legend. So I just thought that was a funny detail. I think that's some basic information about the movie. So Natalie, this was your random recommendation. So do you want to give your, because I believe neither of us have seen this. So if you want to, do you want to give your thoughts?
I would love to. I came into this movie and I did not expect it to be what it is. I literally did not know anything about it except the music. What caught my eye about this movie, just like any other movie I watch, usually is the music, because this movie is basically the music that I listen to, the whole aesthetic, all the songs. And I've also realized through this movie how much I love the 60s aesthetic. The other day I was looking up images of the outfits Baby wears in the movie because I love them so much. But so yeah, this movie was not what I expected. A lot more sexual than I imagined. I watched this with my mom. So there were some shockers there. But that was really good. I thought it was really cute. It made me realize how lonely I am. I'm not, but it was a really cute romance, and I thought the actors had a really good chemistry. The dancing was so good. I love watching dancing, especially when it's really good and both the dancers are really just suave and just so smooth with it. I think it's so amusing. Do you know if Patrick Swayze, I think his name, was a dancer before? Because he was really good.
I don't know. I can honestly say I don't know.
But yeah, he was really good. I thought it was such a fun movie. Um, I think this might be one of my favorite movies too. I really have enjoyed watching all these movies that I've watched in like the past like month or so. They're all really good. And everything we've talked about from the podcast so far, I really enjoyed, like starting with like The Shining and all that stuff. I'm saying like so many times. Oh my god. But yeah, this was a really fun movie. I don't really know what to say about it because like in my head everything's blocked out except for the moments that I was like, oh, so cute. Um, yeah, I it was so cute. And that's mostly what I want to say about it. The way the music is incorporated too with it is so good. Fun fact, real quick, which is so stupid. I've been listening to the song Hungry Eyes a heck ton lately because it's a really good song, but also there's a video of Sebastian Stan singing along to it, which has been stuck in my head. So I've been listening to the song to get it unstuck from my head. And then I realized, oh, this song's from Dirty Dancing. And then I realized most songs on my playlist are from Dirty Dancing, not from, but or in Dirty Dancing. So I just can't express how much I loved all the songs in the playlist for this movie. The music in the movies always make it for me. But real quick, not real quick. That's all I'm going to say for now because I can't remember what else to say. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Jordan.
Yes, I thought the choreography was great. I think one of the first scenes that really caught my eye was the mambo dance between Patrick Swayze and Cynthia Rhodes, who played Penny. The first scene where Baby's sort of watching them, and yeah, Patrick Swayze is a phenomenal dancer, and so is Jennifer Grey. She's a great dancer. Yeah, the choreography, everything with do with dancing was fantastic in the movie. I really liked Baby as a character, how she was just always so selfless and always willing to step in for others, even though initially Johnny just dismisses her as some rich girl. She's willing to help people. She doesn't even really know that well. And I think she's just a very admirable character, especially when you see her trying to learn all these dances. And you can tell she's a very shy and I don't want to say conservative girl, but she's very much, I want to go into the Peace Corps and go here and do this. She very much has an idea of who she is. She initially dresses very she wears a cardigan, she dresses very homely, I guess is the word. I don't know, so to see her then learning all these very sensual dances and see her practicing and trying to get it right, I think Baby is such a persistent character that she's really one that you root for. The music, the songs were very good. It was a little weird though for me because you had some songs that were very 80s and then songs that were of the time period the film is supposed to take place. So as they were catchy songs, that confused me a little bit. I was like, oh my God, where are we? I thought both actors were fantastic, especially Jennifer Grey as Baby. I really liked her. I think I don't want to sound mean.
Go for it.
I wasn't big on the story. I thought there were some things that could have. I don't know. There were some weird. I don't want to say pacing things, but just some weird. I guess where things ended and where things began. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe I'm like more critical of rom-coms than other things because romance is dead for me. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm a bitter human. It's fine. But yeah, just because with a romance, obviously it is based on it's driven by the relationship between the two characters. And I thought that was the reason why I thought it was weird is because initially they're very frustrated with each other, which makes sense because Johnny doesn't want her to do this. He says, oh, you can't dance. He's very dismissive of her and just sees her as all the other rich people. And I think that is a good, I like that character conflict between those two characters. I thought that really worked. And Johnny realizing there are good, good people out there who aren't just want to use him or whatever. But so they're fresh. And then all of a sudden, after they're very frustrated with each other, they just kind of get in the car and start laughing. It was very weird. I don't want to be, I don't want to like be all do like these cliched moments, but I feel like they were missing that moment where Johnny sees Baby and it's like, oh, maybe this girl isn't so bad. I don't know, it's just very weird. They go from being very frustrated till then laughing in the car and then going to this I feel like that moment should have come, that lack of that release of tension between the characters should have came maybe when they were in the lake and practicing or when they were on the ranch. It was just a weird moment for me. And then another weird, I don't know if this is a direction thing or it was a screenplay, but then, Johnny gets fired and Baby has this moment like that, oh my God, I did all this for nothing. It was all my fault. And she's just clearly very distraught and Johnny's trying to comfort her. And then it cuts to them by the car and it's very lighthearted all of a sudden. Like Baby's very, she's smiling and she's, I don't know, it's just a very weird, I feel like she should have still been upset at getting Johnny fired. I don't know. It was just another weird moment for me. I also thought it was weird. So, because the whole reason why Baby's dad doesn't like Johnny is because I don't want to say of a misunderstanding, but Johnny says, oh, I'm responsible for Penny when he's really not. And then at the very end, Johnny, the Baby's dad realizes, oh, it was someone else who did that to Penny. But when Johnny comes back, I feel like that should have been the moment where he accepts Johnny, but he's still very, very much like, don't go up there on stage with him, Baby. But then the mom's like, no, let them. And I'm like, first of all, which is very weird because the mom has been like absent the entire movie and she's just like fine with like she hasn't been like had a conversation with Johnny and she's just like fine with him. I don't know if that was it's just a lot of weird moments like that. And I don't know. And like the sister, Baby's sister was trying to get involved with what's his name? Robbie, I think it was his name, the guy who knocked up Penny, but that doesn't really go anywhere. And it's kind of, and it doesn't really affect Baby or even, it's like kind of played out as a joke almost when he sees Robbie in bed with, when she sees Robbie in bed with another woman. I just didn't understand that because then the sister doesn't really tell her that Robbie's a bad person or even console her after that moment. It's just kind of a thing that happens for some reason. I don't know. The sister just didn't really play much of a role in the movie, and I feel like they could have done more with that. And I just feel like there's a weird, I don't want to say lack of conflict because I know these movies are based on, the romance and these characters falling for each other. But like I was thinking of Titanic and here's the reason why. Because in Titanic, the whole initial conflict in the first half is they want to be together, but the girl is of high society and the boy is very poor. And so there's that, and the girl is also supposed to be betrothed to some other rich guy. So it's that sort of forbidden romance aspect of her trying to sneak off and be with Jack. But here we don't really see that. We don't even have, we don't really see that sort of conflict with her trying to like fend off, trying to get away from her family, or the family's never suspicious of where she goes off to. She just kind of is learning to dance, and that's kind of the main conflict for this one competition, which happens about halfway through the movie. So that's resolved halfway through the movie. But even then, that could have been fine if there was another, because in Titanic, there's a reason I'm bringing it back to that, is because then the stakes get even higher when the ship is about to sink. So and Jack could die. So Rose has a whole conflict of, do I go with my family or do I save the man I love? So there's that even higher stakes of, oh shit, one of us or both of us might die. And I'm not saying it has to be a life or death scenario. I'm not saying that Dirty Dancing has to be a life and death scenario. I'm just saying I feel like because the dance was resolved about halfway through, and I just wish there was more conflict, I guess, than just the father saying no, you can't be with him. I don't know. Am I making sense or?
I know exactly what you're saying. First of all, my own personal opinion, I don't like Titanic. It's not, I mean, I watched it when I was really young. That might be the issue, but I just could not stand it. I thought it was very boring and heinous. But I'm sure it's a good movie as it is because it's very renowned and people seem to really, really love it. And I get what you're saying with all of this, but also my argument for this is it's a romantic comedy and those movies aren't that deep usually. I really enjoy romantic comedies too. One of my other favorites is Crazy Stupid Love. I think it's so much fun, and there's really good conflict in that too. That's such a good movie. Have you seen it?
I see most of it, yeah.
So
And
good.
I'm not a huge Titanic fan either. I just that sort of went to my mind
Yeah.
as like a way, as like why I'm not connecting or as engaged with this movie as
Yeah.
I feel like I want to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And are are you just not too much of a fan? Not too much of a fan, but of not Dirty Dancing, of romantic comedies in general, or
In general, yeah, there are definitely some exceptions. I don't know because I feel like there are definitely some exceptions. Like I really liked Clueless. Um, I really like Easy A. Um, I think Mean Girls still holds up really well.
I've
You haven't seen Mean Girls?
seen parts of it, not the whole thing though.
I feel like everyone's seen Mean Girls. Okay, it's fine. Um, but yeah, I just think because I think what I really like about Easy A is the sort of the way the lies upon lies upon the lies. Now I'm not getting the spoilers, just stack up on this character, and it just takes a huge toll on the main character played by Emma Stone. So you see her having to grapple with that, and just it's just so exhausting by the end of the movie where you realize she has no one essentially, and you have all these everyone has these preconceived notions about her, and she's just all alone essentially, and it's just I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe yeah, maybe if I got to know Baby a little bit better and it was more focused on like her wants and needs, like what she wants to do, I feel like maybe I would have connected a little bit more with the story because Clueless also doesn't have a high stakes life and death, you know, con- conflict, but I feel that the character does get really downtrodden at a point, which makes you really want to connect with her, which I feel like with the weird tonal shifts in the characters that I talked about, I think that made me kind of really hard for me to like, not like, but connect with the story, if that makes sense. Just really seeing how the emotional toll of all of this on the main character. I feel like maybe that was what I was missing. I don't know.
I totally get what you're saying. And it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the movies you enjoy to watch have a deeper roots and more realistic, not realistic, but just more, not action though. I don't know what it is, but just have more deep stuff and something you can grab onto and kind of comprehend. But for romantic comedies, most of the time it's lighthearted stuff that mindless watching that there's a lot of like little plot holes and like little errors, but you just when you're watching it, you don't seem to mind that. You're just watching it for the fun of it and like the love and comedy and just the joy of watching it, rather than like let's get into the technical parts of this movie, you know?
I feel so bad. I feel like I'm
No,
sounding
no,
so pretentious. Like I need a deeper meaning of this. I feel so bad. I feel like I'm
no, don't feel bad at all. I love hearing it, and it's weird to think about that because you mentioned that one moment where after Baby's really mad about him being fired, she's, oh, it's all my fault. And then it cuts to the car scene. in my head, I didn't even pick up on that. I was like, yep, that seems about right. Okay, keep going. But now that you mentioned it, I'm like, oh yeah, which is really funny. I really also enjoy talking about this stuff with you because you always point out stuff that I don't pick up on in all the movies we watch. And it's always so cool because when it's deeper movies, I have the cathartic kind of reaction of being, oh my God, that makes sense. I understand that now. But for this, it's more of the idea of, oh yeah, that's kind of stupid, which I think it's so funny. But I know what you're saying with all of that, and it makes total sense. But I have to agree to disagree. I understand it all, but I don't think it should apply to this movie because of the style it is and because of what it actually is. It's not supposed to be very deep. I mean, I think the deepest it goes is the relationship and the themes of being just society and like standards and social ranking and just how some classes have to work harder than the others and all of that and how some people are just mistreated in general. But I think that's the deepest it goes. But for other than that, it's more of playful and just watch it, enjoy it. Also, real quick, I did not know that the famous quote, "Nobody puts baby in the corner," was from this movie. I just never realized that until the line was said, and I was like, oh my God, that makes sense. I understand it now. It still seems really weird when he says it. Like, it doesn't seem right that he said it. It just doesn't make sense. I don't get it, but I love it, and I'm gonna start using that quote more because I think it's so funny and so much fun. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. But definitely, yeah.
No, it's totally fine if you want to disagree with me. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not saying the film. I don't think the film lacks themes or anything because I totally agree. I thought it was really interesting the idea that even Baby had the idea of who she wanted to be with, and she had to be with someone of high society. But then, and her father had this idea, oh, these people are trash. They're all, But then Baby, tells him straight off, you're the one. You always told me not to judge people, but you're the one judging these people. And I think that was a really interesting part of the movie and how you see Johnny sort of realizing that as well, where he had all this idea that, oh, everyone just viewed him as trash, and then he sees, oh, not everyone's like that. Baby's very sweet, and she wants to help. She's not just in it for herself. Um, so I totally agree. And overall, I did enjoy the movie. I don't want it to come across I didn't like it. I don't know, I just noticed some of these things.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just what I picked up on. Maybe if we got a little bit more of Baby's character and just got into her head a little bit more, which I think is what I really like about movies such as Clueless and Easy A and even Mean Girls, is that we really do get into the main character's head. I'm not saying we need like voiceover and narration and stuff like that. I just feel like that would have maybe, I don't want to say helped, but for me, I think I would have maybe latched onto the characters a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. One moment that I want to highlight, which you kind of mentioned a little bit, is when she's talking with her dad about, oh, you lied to me. I lied to you too, but you lied to me about how the world actually is and all of this stuff and how, what is it? The idea that you make it seem like all these people, like I have it easy and so does everyone else, but in reality, like no one is treated like we do and no one gets what we are and the world's bad and all that stuff. I thought that was really interesting and beautiful moment. And I thought it was really weird how her dad didn't respond, but you could see that he's sad and you see that he's about to cry and you see that he wants to say something but doesn't. And that makes me really sad. I wish there was a moment where they actually talk and connect and communicate because in the beginning of the movie, she is dad's favorite. And then as she kind of drifts away and starts to become her own person and make decisions of her own, her sister becomes her dad's favorite. And it's so annoying. And I see that a lot in the world, and I see that just that's like the truth for most things is like often parents want to be very controlling over their kids and have the idea of what their kids should be in their heads. And when this sounds really sad, but when their kids start to change and become and realize what kind of person they want to be and what kind of person they are, parents kind of drift away and let go a little bit, because in their head it's like no longer, this is really deep and like really like harsh into it, but it's like in their head it's no longer their child in a way. Do you know what I'm saying with that? And in this moment you can see that he's just letting go of her. He doesn't try to fight, or he doesn't try to say, oh, I understand, like I'm sorry, or any of that in that moment. But you can see that he wants to, but I don't really understand why he didn't. And I mean, I do, but I also don't at the same time. And it's annoying because after that it goes back to the idea where baby's in the corner, and baby is still being controlled by her dad in a way. I mean, not controlled, but she still doesn't have the freedom where she's herself, but she's also a daughter, you know. It's more of like either being a daughter or being herself. And when she's with their family, she kind of has to reside to that, because even what you were saying in the beginning, how she was dressing in the beginning of the movie where she was wearing a little sweater, and then to the end where she's wearing, I loved her outfit so much, but she's wearing like a button down that's tied really high and showing like most of her skin. There's a very different switch with that. And I think that's really cool. And just going back to the idea, I mean, I don't know if this connects necessarily, but very back to the idea that I came from, what's it called? Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where the people who you surround yourself with change who you are and kind of make you make certain decisions. As John Walker being surrounded by what's his name, his friend's name, and just honestly most of the government and whoever hired him always praise him for making these bad decisions, and so he thinks that's right. Whereas for Captain Steve Rogers and Maggie Barnes and all those people, they're more supportive and they can see clearly about everything. And so it's the difference between, this is so off topic now, but it's just the way you surround yourself and who you surround yourself with change who you are. Because I'm not saying she was snobby in the beginning. No, not at all. But her sister, for example, was more snobby with her, and she seemed to be closer on the side of her parents. Whereas baby, for the most part, she was reserved from her family, where she was really Peace Corps, all of that stuff. I forgot what I was saying basically, but it's kind of off topic too. But it's just the idea of who you surround yourself with, and the idea of letting yourself go to become your own person versus kind of pleasing your family and pleasing your parents and all that stuff. That is really off topic, but yeah, I don't even know if that made any sense. Honestly, I started getting lost like halfway through that.
That totally makes sense. Why you're much better at looking at the deeper meaning of things.
No, not at all.
This is well, Patrick Swayze was very hot, so
Okay.
A+.
Stop. So I watched this movie with my mom. My dad was in California, and he was like, thank God I'm not there. I hate this movie so much. And what he doesn't like about it is how he thinks Johnny looks like a 30-year-old and baby is like 16, and he thinks that's really weird. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. I don't see that. But I know he looks old, but he doesn't look old at the same time, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I really like this movie. It was really cute. And I wish I could go to like secret secret dance parties. Everything is so boring nowadays. We're just like clubs, bars, and stuff like that. I want to go to cool things like this. I really like the 60s aesthetic. And I was looking at outfits, like 60s aesthetic outfits the other day, and I couldn't find anything that matched this movie. Honestly, when I saw this movie, I was like, oh, this is the 80s. It was the 60s. I think 1962 it was exactly set in, but interesting. That's all I would say.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the time period vary. I know this is supposed to, but everyone looks like they're in the 80s. I can't unsee it.
That's why I was really confused. I feel like the fashion was mostly 80s, except for when they went out to those events, meals.
Yeah. No, yeah. So do we want to give ratings on the movie?
Yeah. Okay, real quick, going to Blade Runner, I think that was an 8.5 for me. This, either an 8.5 or a 9 just by my enjoyment. Maybe it's not the best movie technically made, but
you don't have to. You can stick by your opinions. It's okay. I'm terrible.
I can't wait to see what your rating is for this.
So you're thinking like 8.5, 9, around there? I'm I'm teetering between a 6 and a 7.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do like a 4, honestly.
No, I did enjoy it. Like I just wanted to point out things that I wish would have elevated it even more. So I'd say because I gave Easy a 7. I remember when I rated it. So I think I would give this a 6, 6.5, which is usually like I thought it was good. It wasn't. I don't think it's gonna be my next favorite, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I really enjoy. Honestly, all the movies I've watched in the past month have been so good. I really enjoy all the content I've been watching, even with Hannibal and everything. It's so good. I forget how much I love movies and stuff, and I finally have the time to do it, but I don't at all. I have so much work and assignments to do. Also, oh my god, so real quick, right now me and Jordan are doing one acts for our show or school, which usually we direct them in their in-person plays, but because of COVID and everything, we have to film them. And so, I mean, I guess you have been editing too right now, but oh my gosh, the craft of editing, I don't even understand it. Looking at my own production and how rough the edits are right now versus seeing a movie like Blade Runner or like The Shining and like Dirty Dancing, it's so good. Like I don't get how people can do it because the cinematography in The Shining is just gorgeous. It is perfect and everything is so smooth and just the pacing is really good and all of that. And in my show it's kind of heinous, but that's also because of the restrictions we had and everything. Like because my actors couldn't actually be next to each other, I did a split screen and the lighting is a little different on each side because of shadows and stuff like that. So you can clearly tell that it is a split screen. But I also really enjoy it because I think it's really funny because one member in my cast is playing like 7 different roles, I think. And they're always in the same scene with each other. So I have a split screen with someone where it's 2 of them and then there's a 3 one and there are just like 3 of them next to each other. I think it's so much fun and so cool. But wow, shout out to all the editors out there. What brilliant geniuses they are. Also, I was talking to my dad about this and I could not believe that they used to have to literally cut the film. Like literally cut and paste together. Like I can't even. Oh my god, man, shout out to them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
good.
One X has really made me appreciate the art of editing because oh my god, it's really heinous so far and submitted in a few days.
Dude, oh god, as soon as this ends, I'm gonna edit the heck out of my one act. I haven't even finished doing like the rough edit where it's just like line to line. I also don't have all my film yet because someone in my cast is being annoying. No. Besides the point.
I still have to film this one footage. I don't even know how I'm gonna do it. It's supposed to be like dirty footprints with like leaves. I'm like, am I gonna have to get my floor dirty? What am I gonna do for that?
Stock images, baby. What was I gonna say? But oh my gosh, going back to the idea of just shout out to editors. My one act right now is only 15 minutes, but imagine a feature length film of like an hour and a half. Oh my god.
Girl, I don't even think mine is gonna be 9 minutes.
I wish. Mr. Kaplan told me, our teacher, he was like, Natalie, this script's a little longer. Are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's not fine. I want to die. I don't.
Oh, so wait, your script is a little bit longer, or do you remember?
Like 15, 14 pages.
Okay. Yeah, mine is. Yeah, and the dialogue goes by pretty fast too. So I don't think mine is gonna be that long, but it's fine. It'll get my terrible editing will get over with faster. So
I'm stuck between the decision because things aren't that good and because it's not like perfect. I don't know if I want to lean a lot more into the comedy or I want to kind of make it look good. I don't know yet, but we should talk about this next week more because we'll have it finished and I'm pretty sure we will have seen everyone else's 1X. So if you want, maybe next week's episode could be on just the 1X we did, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, we could definitely talk about that, reflect on that, and we get to maybe say what we loved about everyone else's. 'Cause I think that'll be interesting. I'm like so nervous. But it's fine. So yeah, next week, because Natalie and I are both busy with one act and also with the exit ticket for theater. Um, we're gonna be busy, so we might not watch a movie for next week, but we might talk about one act and maybe have another surprise, which I've been thinking about might be kind of a fun experiment to do. So we'll talk. So yeah, don't worry about having to watch anything for next week, unless you want to watch if Natalie finishes Hannibal, if you want to watch that to be up to date. But yeah, so that was our discussion on Dirty Dancing. Even though I was a negative Nancy the whole time, we both did like it. But yeah, that's about it. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions for another week. If you have any nice ways that we could, improve the show, make it better, because we are always looking to improve. Just make sure we keep the environment positive because we are both new at this. But we are always looking for ways that we can improve the podcast.
I'm so bad. I say like so often. I was realizing as I was speaking, I was like, God damn, I do say like every 5 seconds. It's so annoying. And I realized that I do this when I'm texting too. I say like because I want to soften what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't want it to be too argumentative or too like, I'm going to say this. It's more of just like, don't worry about it though. Things seem too aggressive to me. Like soften it to me. And also I don't know what I'm saying half the time. So we need that little pause. You know?
I've been trying to get better at my likes. I don't know how I did.
You didn't say like at all. I was realizing that and I was like, oh, it's definitely just me.
No. I could definitely tell you weren't saying like as much.
I said it. There is one sentence, I forget when. They're enjoying our critiques of our speaking right now. But I said like I think 5 times in a row between it was between every single other word. And it was like, oh God, stop it, Natalie. And I realized I was saying it in my head. And I just kept going and I was like, no. I also can't tell. I know I say like in the context of being like I don't know. But then I get confused when it's like this, like you're comparing something. So that throws me off my game too. Anyways, I need to work on my vernacular too. I have the worst basic speaking words ever. Yeah. Anyways.
So that was our discussion on Dirty Dancing. Next week's episode is going to be a little bit more. We're not going to have probably a spoiler discussion on anything unless you want to talk about Hannibal in more detail. But yeah, that's about it. Any final words?
Not really. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment any suggestions or anything you want us to do to make it a little bit better and a little bit more enjoyable. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.